Welcome back to Talon Talk with your host, Aiden Coleman. Today we sit down with the head coach of the Tyrone Golden Eagles football team, Coach Franco, and a couple of his players, Keegan, Gwinn, and Rhoades. It's great to have you guys back on the podcast. How are y'all doing today?
Great.
Good.
It's good to be here, Aiden. Good to be here.
Oh, for sure. So, guys, since the last time we sat down and talked, you were, 2-4 with a win coming from a forfeit. And ever since then, you were 3-1 with a home playoff spot secured. This season, you can say, has been so-called turned around. Coach, what was the key to this recent success?
Well, as we were talking about earlier, the development of the team, and it would take time, and you can ask these guys, what do you guys think now? From the beginning of the year until right now, how much development have you seen?
I think we've seen a lot, especially with the sophomores. Obviously at the beginning they're not going to be too developed, but as the season goes on, they grow more and more and more, which I think really helps us.
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely.
And what do you think?
I remember seeing all the sophomores in the Bellwood game. They looked nervous and scared. Now, coming into games like last week, they were pretty confident and focused.
I agree, and I think that really hit the nail on the head right there. We had more sophomores than I would have liked playing, but unfortunately that's because we only had a handful of seniors back out, and these guys, like I said, I'm so proud of them because they could have taken the easy way out and not come out, and they just said, hey, we're going to do this, and we're going to be leaders, and they did a great job of helping these young kids develop. And the Bellwood game, like they said, we had so many sophomore, and I shouldn't say sophomore mistakes, but inexperienced mistakes, because we had a lot of first-year juniors starting that did the same thing. But I think the experience factor, because we knew they were good, we knew they were talented, we knew it was just going to be a matter of time. But yeah, all in all, they've really come along.
Oh, definitely. You can see it.
Yeah.
Successful the past few games. It's been nice. So obviously with this huge playoff game coming up this Friday at home, how do you plan on preparing the players for this game? Are you running things differently at practice or doing anything different from a normal regular season game?
Well, that's interesting because I was listening to a guy was talking to me today from the radio station about, what do you do differently to prepare for the playoffs? Since it's a different game, stage, format, whatever. And I said, you do the same exact preparation. I mean, there's no difference. We wouldn't do anything now that we wouldn't have done. I mean, if we had something really great that we could do, then why wouldn't we do it?
Yeah.
To get here, because getting here is more important.
For sure.
And so, our practice, except, we've cut it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys think we've cut it there?
Keep 'em nice and healthy.
Maybe at least 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But definitely with that in mind. But the practices, each day you focus on a certain segment of a game plan, and we have done that. It's a structure that you go from the Sunday meeting to the Monday practice to Tuesday.
Yeah.
And today is, we call game day preparation, right, guys?
Yeah.
And it's a game. I mean, we literally will run plays in and out, and everything will be a game situation. We'll have, we'll put the ball in the red zone on the goal line, backed up offense. We finish with our 2-minute offense for our conditioning. And so everything has a situation tagged to it. And what do you guys? Do you think that helps? That helps in the development?
The Wednesday practice compared to the Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tuesday is more of what?
Drill work and more individual stuff.
Yeah, more individual fundamentals.
Yeah.
Yep. And what we need to accomplish the game plan.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
and so and we do more hitting on Tuesday. And in fact, this year we've done a lot of hitting on Tuesday, more so than in the past. But we needed it because we had
With all the
so many.
inexperience.
I'm sure that's definitely helped too. Hitting and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, it without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And then we had, Court finally had maybe one of his greatest hits here last week.
I did see that. I definitely did see
paid
that.
off.
Yeah.
Would you think that was your greatest hit ever, maybe?
Probably.
Probably was, yeah.
It says hitting the bags and hitting the ring.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, for sure. So, Keegan, Court, what have you guys been doing differently?
Nothing really as compared to the regular season, just keeping the kids more focused, especially the younger
Yeah.
kids. I think that's just about
Definitely.
That'll definitely
what's
help you out a
different. Just
lot.
keeping the younger kids more focused and paying attention.
Yeah. So, Coach, having been with the Talon Room program for how many years now and having multiple district championships and even a state championship, could you compare this present team to any of the past successful teams, or are they their own kind of like special?
They really are. It's difficult to compare teams.
Yeah.
I mean, every team has their own personality. Every team is a little bit different. This team is different in that it is the fewest starters I think I've ever had back on a team. Because usually you've got like 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9 kids that have started, played a lot. We really didn't this year. We had these guys here. And in fact, Court was a 2-way starter. Keegan was really a 1-way starter at tight end last year. And really, I mean, we just didn't have that many kids.
Yeah.
And we had no linemen coming
Yeah.
back. That's unbelievable. And so it made it difficult. So, you know, in a way, I looked at our very similar to our team from 2002, 2003 that had lost a lot of people, and then they come back with a large group of sophomores playing.
Yeah.
But as I tried to put the comparison together, it really didn't mesh, because even that team, we had like a quarterback who was, you know, really experienced coming back. That was Tyler Murdiff back in the day.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
that makes a big difference when the quarterback comes back. So this team is very unique.
Yeah.
It had a group of seniors that was just a handful of them, and they were saddled with the burden of being leaders to a team of now the juniors. You know, when you guys say they're kind of more stable and you know they're a little more serious and they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we got a
definitely.
bunch of sophomores who, you know, they goof around a lot, and you got to really
Yeah.
got to kind of lasso them in.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're talented, and it's all good-natured stuff. I mean, I love that group. It's just a great group, but
Yeah.
you know, sometimes you got to grab them by the throat.
Little
and shake
discipline.
them
Yeah. Gotta
and say,
gotta
"Hey."
keep them straight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And these guys have done it, and they've seen it, and even when you get Cortlynd talking, I mean that's
something. Yeah, that's
He's a little bit upset.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and Keegan never gets mad, so and sometimes he's shaking his head over there, but
Jeez.
they've done a great job of kind of reining in these young kids and getting them to play to the level that they're at right
Yeah.
now, and they're just going to get better. And,
Oh, for
and
sure.
So this is an important game in that respect. Just, you know, I really wanted to make the playoffs this year so that these guys could have something to shoot for and to go
Yeah.
out on after being big contributors to
Yeah.
last year's team, which really, you know, got the program back on track, in my opinion. And now they kind of had to be the bridge to bring these young kids who've been very successful in junior high, and we think they're going to be very successful, but they needed a bridge, and these guys have supplied that.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to ask a group of seniors that, hey, you guys got to do this,
Yeah.
and you got to be the leaders, and you know, you got to show these guys the way. And they've done a great job of being, you know, really good teammates and showing them, hey, this is the way we do things. You know, we don't screw around here. When we cross the orange line, you know, which is, you know, it's not fictitious. We put up an orange line, and that means, hey, it's a 100% focus when you cross this line in the practice field. And these guys had demonstrated it. And they were serious about it. And the other guys got out of line. They were the ones to say, "Hey, you know, hey, step it up. We don't do things
Straighten
this
up,
way."
yeah.
And that's really important, because then the culture transmits itself from one group to the next, and now you have a program.
Yeah.
And that's been the biggest thing that I've tried to accomplish in the last couple of years, is to get the culture back that we have. You know, you don't live in the past, and
Yeah.
you know, game's different, and we recognize that, but there's some things that are the foundation.
Yeah.
And the culture that you want, you've got to teach it and the kids have to buy in, and these guys have bought in, and that was tough because they're the last group that came from a different culture, and boy, it's tough when you're a high school athlete to go from one area to the next, which is interesting because what did you guys think? What did you have to change to go from the previous culture to this culture?
It was definitely a lot more discipline. I remember 9th grade year we practiced with the varsity for a little bit. It kind of felt like a little bit of a joke the whole time. And that was even during the conditioning camp. That wasn't nowhere compared to what we did our sophomore year or first year with you.
Yep, that's different. What did you see that was a difference that?
I didn't play my freshman year.
Oh, you weren't in there? What about
No.
8th grade?
I don't really remember that, honestly.
So 10th grade was your first year?
No, I played 9th year. My 9th grade year I didn't play, but all my previous years I played. I'm not sure why I didn't play my 9th grade year.
Well, that's what I said. What about when you were in 8th grade, 7th and 8th grade?
Oh, I mean, it was, definitely a lot different, just not as disciplined and not as, I feel like just everyone wasn't as focused and didn't really care as much.
Yeah, that was back when I played. A lot of clownage.
So then,
There was a lot of chaos.
A lot of chaos
Yeah.
and just everything. Just no,
well, and to me that's so important because we don't treat our junior high staff as a separate staff. Our junior high staff are guys that I hand pick, and I consider them part of my staff. And they do things exactly as we do them, and probably even tougher than what we do. And they have done a fantastic job in making sure. So, the idea is that when the kids come from 9th grade to 10th grade, that there's not that much of a transition outside of just the speed of the game and the toughness of the game. But the discipline, the accountability, that has to be groomed in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And Steve Johnson, Coach Johnson, and his guys have just done a fantastic job in 3 years now. The last group that came through, they're undefeated. Last year's group had, one loss, something like that, and the other group were 6-2. I mean,
phenomenal years.
So that's the whole key to getting this culture back to where we need it. And then you guys were the bridge that has to get it going here.
Yeah. So expanding on the first part of the previous question, you've obviously been a part of the program for how many years?
Many.
Yeah. So plenty of experience, but especially in playoff football, how big is it having a home playoff game?
I think it is important. I think it's important. We have the majority of our playoff games when I've been at Tyrone have been home games. We occasionally would go on the road, and I'm just trying to think right now. When we were on the road, usually it hasn't been much. Ted, I'll tell you what, we won a really big game on the road at Central.
Oh, hostile environment over there. I can only imagine that.
And, they were undefeated.
Yeah.
And we beat them with a group of sophomores.
That's probably nice.
And those sophomores ended up going to Hershey when they were seniors. And I think even though we've had a ton of success at home, when you're in the playoffs, you're going to play a good team. You're rarely going to play a lousy team. So you can't just think that, well, hey, we got it easy now because we're at home. It's a bit of an advantage, absolutely, but still have to play the game. Everything's equal.
Yeah.
And but if I had my choice, I want to play at home.
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
Definitely.
What do you guys think?
Oh, definitely.
Definitely. I love knowing that we got that one more game this week in
Yeah.
Greenfield, and know that because last week we didn't.
You weren't sure.
We
Yeah,
sure
you
if it
weren't
was our
sure.
last game or
Nice
not,
supporting
so it's
crowd
nice to
too
know.
at home.
And
Yeah,
after
that's
watching
always nice.
film, Penn Cambria's field didn't look too great,
Yeah.
so it's always nice to
Terrible.
play on a nice field.
Not good.
Yeah. So we definitely get an advantage on that, no doubt.
Yeah. So with this big game coming up at home, obviously in most high school sports playoff, the smaller mistakes like penalties and big plays coming from the opponents are magnified. How do you plan on managing these issues in the game?
Well, that's part of our preparation. I mean, we do a list of winning things every week. Okay, give me some winning things here.
No
Give me
offside
one.
penalties.
No offside penalties.
No explosive plays.
There you go.
What's the biggest thing? Know what?
Team toughness, Tyrone.
Well, but what's
No big plays.
Well, we
no
said that.
explosive plays.
Come on now, Court.
Out condition.
the keys that the
win the
number
kicking
one
game.
Win the
thing on the
kicking
top
game.
5 was that
Win a kicking game.
win the kicking game by doing the
Little things.
and but
There you
number
go.
1 on that list.
No big plays. Well, no
That's
explosive
2.
plays. What?
What's number 1?
I
What
thought
do
that was one. No offside penalties.
Okay, right before that one. This is always the most important statistic in a football game. It's going to determine who wins and loses more than anything else.
No explosive plays.
No turnovers.
Thank you.
There it
Thank
is.
you.
Thank you,
No
I thought
Court.
those were two.
And if you can keep that around 0, where you get as many turnovers from another team as you give up, then you give yourself a chance to win. When you get a positive turnover ratio, then you've got a great chance of winning. Right now we're a +2, and we have had a great year so far in not turning the ball over, and that's been a big factor. In the last 3 games, I think we've had less than 1 turnover a game the last 3 games, because we had 0 and then we had 1 in each the other 2. So that's a key part, and yeah. So you look at the kicking game right now, big factor.
Definitely.
And you don't have to have 40-yard field goals or 50-yard punts or 100-yard kickoff returns. You got to be able to stabilize. And we always tell our guys, when the ball is exchanged, make sure that we get the ball or keep them on the other side of the field, and don't give up any big plays. Make sure you're blocking your rules. Do your job on the special teams, and
always very important.
that stabilizes things, and that gives the offense and the defense a chance to win the game. And then, what we were just talked about, explosive plays are huge. And this week, it's going to be really big because they've got a big-time player in number 11, the quarterback.
Yep,
and he has made big play after big play after big play this year, and our focus has been on stopping him. And we know they've got a good fullback. We know they can throw the ball, but this kid is the hub which turns the whole team. And we've got to control him, and we've got to neutralize him.
Yeah.
And that's been the big part of the game plan. And then on the other side, offensively, we've got to not turn the ball over, which we just talked about. No offside type penalties, which we mentioned. And we've got to be able to run the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, we know our passing game is going to be good, and we got good receivers. We can throw the ball. We got to be able to run the ball. And last week there's been 3 games this year where we've been able to run the ball pretty well. 3 games where we've had a 100-yard rusher. All 3 games we won.
Yeah.
And that makes a big.
I think it
big
definitely
role.
helps set up the pass too. Being able to run the ball
Yep.
makes
Yeah.
it a lot easier to pass.
Yep,
Makes it a lot-
absolutely. And that's what we really are, hell bent on developing this week.
Definitely.
And that's going to be the key, because it's going to be tough against these guys. They've got a big front,
yeah.
and they got a good linebacker, but it's a challenge, and you're in the playoffs, and so you expect that.
Yeah.
Expect that.
100%. So, staying on this topic, how do you feel we match up against these guys, especially in the offensive and defensive line? Do you think we'll be able to hold up against these guys?
Well, they remind me a lot of the team we just played, St. Mary's. St. Mary's had a great quarterback, and that kid was a great. But he was
good.
just solely a passing quarterback. And St. Mary's had great receivers, and now Penn Cambria has a better quarterback because he can pass as well as this kid. But he runs twice as well. I mean, he's their number 1 runner. He's their leading rusher.
Yeah.
And so that gives you a little bit of a different challenge. The offensive and defensive lines, I think, are pretty similar, St. Mary's and Penn Cambria. So I think our matchup is good there because we matched up well with St. Mary's linemen.
Yeah.
And our linemen, they're all underclassmen. We have not a senior on the line. They're all getting better every week. And
It's always good.
That's been our focus all year in developing, because they are the most important group on a football team.
Yep.
And
win or lose games.
exactly. They control the football game
Yeah.
more than any other group. They keep the defense off the field.
Mm-hmm.
They let the skill people do their jobs.
Exactly.
And you don't realize how important they are if you're trying to throw the ball and the quarterback's getting rushed out of the pocket all the time, as you know.
Yeah.
And then if you can't run the ball, and then teams just tee off and they just play pass coverage and don't worry about the run.
Exactly.
So the offensive line is the key part of our team that has kind of mirrored the development of our team.
Yeah.
And so that's going to tell the story. And I think we're pretty even with the Penn Cambria linemen. So now, it comes back to the old adage, who wants it more, who's going to make plays, got to have guys make plays.
Yeah.
Court stepped up a lot the last couple of weeks and made plays. Got to make plays.
Definitely.
And that, I think, will be the telling factor in the game this week.
Yeah. So doing some research on the Penn Cambria team, their strengths come from both sides of the ball, but more on the offensive side with obviously their quarterback, number 11, seems to be doing most of the workload with, over 1,000 passing and rushing. So how do you plan on containing him? Like, are we going to try to pressure him more? Or?
Well, we're hoping he gets quarantined this week. And they don't have to worry
that'd be nice. That would be nice.
Yeah, so we're going to spread some rumors or something. But, he's really good, and he's big, and I know him very well because he would come to my quarterback camps, and we were kind of grooming him the 2 years I was up there, and he is the real deal. So we have a ton of respect for him, and he had a heck of a game against us last year as a sophomore. But you set your defense up to take away the things he does best. Yeah. And he runs a counter trap play where he fakes a running play, and he runs another option play where not the pitch. He does run a pitch option, but he runs an option where he either gives a jet handoff or runs a quarterback power play. That is really a tough play. And so you got to stop that. You got to take that away from the defense. You got to make them do something else. And then he can throw the ball. That's always been his strength. And just this year, really, he's developed into a heck of a runner because they really needed it. But so you've got I always tell our defense the corners are the key. The corners have got to shut off the deep pass. They got to shut off the fade and the post. And if we can take that away from them and limit them to just short passes and then run to the ball, make the tackles after the catch, okay? We say tacks and no yaks. Yaks are yardage after the catch. Tacks are tackles after the catch. We want tacks and no yaks. And then we want to stop the post and the fade. And then we think, we have a good chance of containing him and thus winning the game.
Yeah, so on the defensive side of the ball for Penn Cambria, it looks like number 41 seems like he will be the biggest issue for you guys, racking up 97 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks on the year, but then also number 10 with 79 tackles and 8 tackles for a loss. If you think you can stop these two from getting the ball, do you think that'll, up your chances of winning this game?
Well, absolutely. And we like number 56, the other defensive end. We think he's pretty good. And number 10, without a doubt, he's a fast kid. He reminds me a little bit of Matt Clifton from last year.
Oh, yeah.
He's about the same size, plays the same way. 41 is their most active linebacker. He played against us last year and did a really good job.
Yeah.
They, without a doubt, that's their focus. We've got to control those guys, especially those 3 up front, because we think our receivers can do a good job on their defensive backs if our quarterback gets time. So without a doubt, we've got to block them. We've got some double teams in store for the defensive ends that we've used pretty much the last couple of weeks, and we think that will help us out greatly. And and then we'll see what happens there. But without a doubt, you got to score to beat these guys.
Yeah, 100%.
Very
They seem
tough
to be a
just
high-scoring
go
team.
6-0. Right?
Yeah.
Right, guys? You know that better than me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So special teams, also a huge part in the outcome of the game. And looking back at the Hollidaysburg game, obviously, a couple of weeks ago, that can hurt you. And it can hurt you pretty bad. How do you plan on containing Penn Cambria so what happened against Hollidaysburg just does not happen again?
Well, I think the fact that we had 2 punt returns and if you look at the whole year, we did not give up a punt return for more than 9 yards the entire season, except for Hollidaysburg.
Yeah.
Now the first one, they just made a great play.
Yeah.
And they blocked us well. We missed 2 tackles that would have gotten him not even 5 yards on the return, but the kid was really good and he made a great play. The
Yeah.
second one, there were 3 clips against us on the play that were not called, and guys really got nailed. And so it's hard to say that, hey, you can't blame your special team if that's happening to your guys. And it sounds like an excuse, but it really isn't after you watch the film and grade it.
Yeah,
And you
film
go, my
says it
God.
all.
But other than those 2 plays, and we went over this, right, guys? We went over this on the film.
Yeah.
Other than those 2 plays, our
right
special
there.
teams, yeah.
Right there with them.
then we're right there in the game, too. We're right there in the game. They're against a pretty good, 5A team. And then, and we're a developing 3A team. And we hung right with them. And the rest of our punt coverage was good. Our kickoff coverage was excellent that day. We got, there were no kickoff returns because they kicked it out of the end zone every time.
Yeah, how about
so
it?
that limited us. But all in all, I mean, we did not have a punt block.
Yeah.
We did block well on whatever punt returns we had, and so we think that our kicking game and our special teams can match up against anyone, including Penn Cambria, and we think that they have been the foundation which has given us a chance to win the games we've won. So we really depend on our special teams, and we really make them a big focus of the game.
Yeah,
So
definitely. So some may consider us the underdogs in this game. What's your opinion on this? Do you think we're the underdogs, or do you think we match up like really evenly with them?
well, let me ask you guys. What do you guys think? Do you think we're underdogs or what?
I think we're pretty even.
I think it's
I'd
pretty
say
even.
definitely.
Yeah, considering we have no one coming back from this year, but we beat them last year, and they're bringing back a good bit of the teteam. Sounds pretty even matchup.
Yeah.
Would you say that too?
Yeah,
You agree
especially with
that?
the same 5-5 record and
Yeah.
Yep, and I would go 100% with what they're saying.
Yeah.
I think it's a very even matchup. I think, I think, they may be a little bit, I think they're a little bit, I want to say cocky, because they have a few more guys coming back than us, including the quarterback.
A little bit of an edge.
And I think that, the reputation we've had this year, especially from the beginning of the year, is that, they're not that good. They're not that good. But like I keep telling these guys, at the beginning of the year, we weren't that good, right? We weren't.
No.
I mean, we'll just put it, we were not that good. But I kept saying, guys, by the end of the year, you don't want to play us. You don't want to play us, and we're going to give you a battle. And that's the way I feel. I think we are going to give them a battle that they did not expect, and that they're not anticipating. And if they think they're just going to come in, like last week's team, St. Mary's came in, and they just thought they were going to pound us.
No,
And
not at all.
and then, as we talked about, after that first, quarter, it was like, oh, geez, we thought these guys were going to kill. And I think that's going to be the same thing this week. I think these guys are going to come in thinking, we play in the Laurel Highlands Conference, and we're so much superior.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they're going to get hit, and we do hit. And that's one thing, we do hit. And I think we're going to surprise some people.
Oh,
So,
I would not doubt
yeah.
that. Well, Coach, guys, thank you for coming up and being on the podcast.
Thank you for the invite.
Oh, yeah. Best of luck to you guys on Friday.
And
I will be there.
And we
rooting you
hope
guys
we
on.
can do this again.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can do this again.
Oh, for sure. Before that state championship. How about her?
Well, let's just get to the second round of this.
All right. There you go. There you go. All right.